Hello everybody, how's it going? We are here with a timeless tarot reading. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome. My name is Gabriella. If you don't know, before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. All right, I'm seeing you guys come through with a message. I want to get further, like, I know what's going on here, but I want to get context surrounding it, right? There's something that needs to be put to an end is what I'm getting. It's like something problematic behavior, but we need to figure out if this is something that you're doing, if this is something that someone around you is doing. When I say problematic, I mean something that either you're doing where you're like, I feel like this is stopping me from reaching goals that I have, or I want to accomplish this within my life, like even just to like live a healthier lifestyle, say, but you keep going back on something. This can also be somebody around you too that you feel like is not really in alignment with like where you are and where you're trying to go, but it may be somebody that you're keeping around you. All right, the devil represents Capricorn. You may be dealing with a Capricorn. You may have Capricorn highlighted in your chart. Even if none of that is going on, what is happening right here is that there's an attachment to something or someone, to something in a worldly sense, okay? That's what this is about. How about that? This can be something... I try to stay away from using the word toxic because I feel like it's really overused and so it kind of loses its meaning. But getting kind of to like the basis of this, you may be carrying something on and you have an attachment to something that you see is not the healthiest thing for you. Something or someone, because it doesn't just have to be like a substance. It can be a behavior. It can be hanging around somebody that's like not compatible with like your bigger goals. It can be you doing something that you feel like is reductive or unhealthy. But with the devil too, it means it's something that like you don't want to give this thing up. The devil is the thing that you don't want to give up, but you're like, it's not the best for me when I'm doing this. And like, there's this part of you that's like your higher self that's saying this thing needs to go, or we need to stop doing this, or we need to start doing this. We need to detach, because this also speaks about like extremes. The devil is also something that is contained within the world. It's something that you can't take with you when you leave. And so this is an attachment to something in a worldly sense, because this isn't really a spiritual problem here. This is like a worldly type of problem, okay? But to have the Seven of Swords, this means that there's like an acknowledgement, there's an awareness that this thing is not the best thing for you. It can also bring up for you this feeling of when we get so attached to something, like the idea of not having it around anymore can have us feeling like all over the place. Like we could have like an intense reaction to something. You could, if you think about separating from this, it could put you in a space where you're like, I feel like I'd really act out of character if that happened. It's like something that you feel very triggering if you think of this thing being taken away from you, or if you think about making space from this. But it would have you, because of that sense of dependency, and because this is a vehicle for you that you've been using to feel good in some way, it's something that is like relieving or adding or giving you something, but the effects of what this is doing, like the after effect, it's kind of like doing something that you see isn't the healthiest thing for you. I feel like we're kind of tripping all over the place with this. This is something that you see and you're like long-term, like the long-term effects of this are really unhealthy for me. But right now within this moment, it's providing me with some sort of relief, okay? I feel like that's the most simplistic way that we can explain this, but it's something that there's like a big acknowledgement here that this is definitely like self-sabotaging in some way. And when you reflect on that, you see that, which I'm seeing you're learning more and more about it. But there's this other part of you that's like, that's a lot to be taking in here. But you may also be feeling like kind of defensive too, because you're like, part of me doesn't want to give that away or give that up or stop doing that. And you could have somebody too coming in here trying to work with you to make things clear, to give you the truth, but it may be something that's difficult to hear. Let's keep going with this. Okay. This in certain ways would be like sabotaging your stability or like your long-term stuff, which I feel like we've already kind of spoken about. Whatever this is, it seems like it's so far out of balance that, like, whether this is you ending it or this is the universe in some way ending it, it's going to come to an end. The universe is always going to rebalance itself. So when something is like getting too magnetically powerful on one end, that equal and opposite force is going to be taking place here. This is like a law of attraction kind of moment. This is going to be a really intense attachment. That's why this is coming to an end. This is something that it kind of creates like a black hole energetically that really sucks you in, and this is how you get out of it. Again, whether this be your choice or there are circumstances that are somehow forcing this to come to an end, this is going to finish. You're going to be breaking out into a new energy. There may be, to have the Fool, to have Uranus, this may have finished in an unexpected way. Because Uranus can speak about things happening like suddenly moving in a direction that had not been anticipated. Also, if this is you looking at something and being like, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. It's not I can't do this anymore. It's I'm not going to be doing this anymore. And you're ending something, even though this is like one of the worst pains imaginable, like the suffering is going to be really intense here. This is like going to be one of the hardest things to do. The Devil is anything that you connect with, again, that provides you with something that feels good or it relieves something for you, but the long-term effects of this are substantial and also impacting you in a way that you wouldn't want it to. So actually reminding me of something. If I can get like the full notion of it, I'll speak on it. For some of you, this may be a relationship. It's like you realize something's unhealthy. It comes to an end, not in an easy way by any means. Then there's like a decision that needs to be made because something is coming from another end. It's like on one end you think that you ended something, and then it's like coming in the opposite direction, like maybe in a way that you didn't expect for it to. So if this is somebody that you're like, this relationship is really unhealthy. We need to end this unhealthy aspect of the relationship. Then comes a decision that needs to be made where you may have the opportunity to connect again with this thing that you were like, I'm going to end it. Meaning, say you stopped seeing someone and you were like, okay, it's over now. Then for some reason a decision is coming up for you, and I'm seeing somebody coming around here. So it's like, well, are you really going to keep this thing done, or are you going to bring it back to life again? Because I'm seeing this person is game if you are. Your guides are saying that you're not going to get what you need here. There may also be like a deeper part of you that wants to say no as well. Like your higher self over here being like, no, I'm not into it, but I'm definitely seeing this person come through. Be like, yo, what's up? You trying to hang out? And you have to make the choice, like whether you will or not. I'm seeing the ball definitely be in your court in this situation. I definitely see this as your guides being like, don't do it. But I mean, if you do, it is what it is. You get to make the choices here. You get to be the one calling the shots. But it is definitely being suggested to say no. I'm hearing like after all of the work that you've done, so as I said before, this is like not something easy to separate yourself from. So to be entering back into that cycle, there's like no shame or no guilt. Like if you end up going back into this cycle, it just means that you're just going to go through another ending again. It's not going to be the end of the world. It means that you didn't fully complete what you needed to complete within that cycle, and so it's just going to repeat itself again. It's going to get to the same point, the same thing is going to happen, and you're just going to go through it again. But like apart from that, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm seeing this as a particularly difficult cycle. It's not something easy to break away from. You're definitely working with like attachment and dependency issues that this is bringing up for you, that you're working through right now, because there's a leaning on something outside of yourself instead of yourself that you are working through, that you've been working through. So this is bringing up a lot of stuff for you, and it feels like as this is quite fresh, it's kind of like the temptation comes through again and is like, hey, you want to do this like one more time again? Like one last time, we can go through it again. So this is like the type of energy that I'm seeing come through here. But to have this, like if I were reading this for myself, I would see this as your guides being like, absolutely not, don't do it. Yeah, they're trying to hang out with you again. Definitely, definitely. 100%, no doubt. You already know that this is bad news for you. And if you are telling yourself that this is something you think you can make into a healthy situation, you're definitely wrong. For right now, I'm not saying later down the line it can't be like that, but how things are, they're not meant to be touched right now. It's kind of like the volcano exploded and everything needs to cool off, and it's not cool off yet, and if you go back into this, you're going to get burnt. But again, it's your choice. And you're not like bad or anything like that if you decide to go back into this cycle. It just is what it is. It's just something that you're going to have to do again. But if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. Your guides are not going to judge you. They're just there to support you and to give you guidance. And even if you keep repeating something over and over again, like guides don't have emotions like people do. They're not judging you. They're not getting mad at you. They're just there to help. And they don't be getting tired of helping you either. So even if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, as soon as you reach out, they're going to be there to help you. There was like a lack of balance between you and this person. Definitely a lack of balance within the exchange. Something again about extremes. It seems too like what you want is something that feels more reciprocal, and that's not what you were feeling with this person. And that's what you're being guided to look at here. Like what you're actually looking for. Let's just call them a partner. Even if you label them as something else, I'm just using this as like an umbrella term. You want to focus on your standards, your expectations, what you're trying to get out of a relationship. What looks like an equal dynamic to you? What are your needs if you're going to be in a partnership with somebody? And what is this person providing and not providing? Because it seems like something was going on here where there was like a lack of balance, imbalance of power even, or you just feeling like you're in the connection because you need to be, but there's also a part of you that's like, I'm not getting what I need. I don't feel like this is fair. I don't feel like an equal with this person. There's like an imbalance of power even. But there can be an element of it that you're addicted to, or it feels like that. There's a dependency. But it seems like it got to the point where you were like, this isn't worth it anymore. And that's why the ending needed to happen. But I definitely want to emphasize this. To have the devil here, the devil is not something where you're like, oh, that's clearly the worst thing in the world for me. Like that's so toxic. It's radioactive. Let me stay away from that. Like, later on, you may see it like that, but when you're in the midst of this, this is something that may feel very much like a comfort to you. It feels like an attachment. It gives you like temporary relief. It doesn't give you anything long term. It gives it to you and then it takes it away. And that's what creates like the neuroticism towards this, because you're like, in this moment I can get what I want and then it's taken away and then I want to go after it again. And so you would feel that you keep living in that cycle of it's really good and then I'm like pulling away, trying to leave, trying to separate myself, and then I'm like sucked back in again, and then I'm like, I can't survive here and I got to get out of here. Like this really isn't good for me. So there's this oscillation energy. So it's kind of like your higher self, like waking up the connection between like your human and your higher self. Your human that has like these particular needs and you like identifying with your desire system, and then your higher self that's not connected with those things, but that is connected with your human, and they're trying to communicate here. But this is you like waking up to your other senses, like your higher chakra system, rather than just your root and your sacral, which is very activated by this. This is you waking up your solar plexus, which is your willpower. You're going to have a really straightforward conversation with this person. I'm also seeing you like really need to keep it cool when you do this too, which may feel hard. For some reason, it seems like there may be a really big difference in like your air energy with this person. Like I'm seeing you need to talk to them. This person is definitely in a space where like they have feelings for you, but I'm actually seeing you be in like a more intellectual energy. And when you communicate with this person, I'm seeing you more in like an air energy, tapped more into that. So you may see yourself as being more logical. You're not going to feel that energy from this other person. I'm not seeing them be in a like logical energy necessarily. Like you may see this person moves in a way that's like what motivates them is like their emotions and their desires. And even though you can see that and identify with that, there's an element that you have that you don't connect with them on that is like this intellectual aspect of your energy. So I'm seeing that like you can make the decision to have this conversation with them because it's like they're coming in. It seems like something ended, but then for some reason there's like a decision that needs to be made afterwards, maybe when they come through to you. Because you would think that the decision that needs to be made is to end things, but actually what comes first is an ending of something that's very difficult to end, and then immediately after there's then a decision that needs to be made, and I'm seeing them come through and be like, so what's your answer? So that's what I'm seeing, this kind of be like. Right now you're being faced with needing to come up with the answer that you're going to give to this person, and you're being guided to analyze what was going on as far as the sense of equality within the relationship. Was something out of balance? This means like, does the relationship meet your standards and expectations, and does it also meet that other person's? Or is this relationship based off of something else that's like not realistic and also not going to last long term? Because this is something that's going to feel in extremes, and again, it's not going to be something that's substantial. This is analyzing and being real with yourself about why things came to an end in the first place. Needing to make a decision. It seems again to have, it seems an additional conversation with this person, because I'm seeing them come through, and I'm seeing you're going to need to hold it down when you have this conversation, because what I'm getting is that this person is definitely going to appeal to you because you have a connection. Well, you have an attachment to them. I don't know how much of like an actual connection. Well, I don't want to write it off because like you do have a connection with them, but you may see that it's based more off of, I'm trying to be so careful with where we go. Basically, your perception of your compatibility with this person may be very different when you're in the middle of the relationship versus when you're not in the relationship anymore. And I feel like that's as deep as we can go with that. I'm seeing you be like, I don't know if I should hang out with them or not. I don't know what I'm feeling. I think you like really want this to be something that it's not right now, okay? But I'm seeing you also like get kind of sentimental about things with this person too. And I'm also seeing you be in a space where you're like, I'm trying to manifest things being in alignment with like myself and my purpose and where I feel like I should be. And I'm seeing this definitely feel like a big no-go to you. But at the same time, because this person is like appealing to your sense of like nostalgia even, or like, whoa, the history that I have with this person and what I'm currently going through, that may be why this is like appealing to you right now. I do keep also seeing Aquarius. This person is going to be disappointed by you saying no, but it seems like that's actually what's going to end up happening. Because I'm seeing you be like, I'm not trying to sabotage things for myself. And you may see you like getting back together with this person or like hanging out with them again or whatever as self-sabotage. As something that you wouldn't be like proud of doing. Because I see the Seven of Swords as you doing something where you're like, I'll do it, but only in the dark. So, just something to check in about. Again, listen, you get to make the decision of what you want to do. If you end up not connecting with this person again, then you don't have to do this cycle again. If you end up going back, you're just going to have to repeat it again. It's like you get held back and you just have to go through it again. But again, it's not the end of the world either way. This is just like what you need to go through depending on your choice. And this reading is just about keeping you informed so you can play the tape to the end when it comes to each and every choice that you could be making within this scenario. So I'm just looking at Capricorn, and I'm also looking at Pluto here. Okay, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for connecting. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.